Hello, hello, hello. We have Shauna Michaels back with us
Hi.
today. Hi, Shauna.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good. So last week, I think it was last week, but our
Mm,
last podcast, you and I we were dishing about Reiki. And so
yeah.
we thought today we could talk about animal Reiki.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
love animal Reiki.
I know I put these cute little animals on my background. So Shauna is the director of Reiki at Shine, Ohio. And not only does she do, and this is what I love, that we always call it human Reiki when we're talking about animal Reiki. We would never call it human Reiki any other time, but Shauna
Mhm.
is the director of human Reiki at Shine, Ohio. But she also does animal Reiki and online in person. So thanks for being here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to be here and share about this. This is like something I'm super passionate about. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to be talking about it today.
So I thought it was fascinating last time because I asked you, like, share how you got started, what inspired you to do human Reiki, right? And you shared a story
Yeah.
that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting. But today I'm going to ask you to share, just your story about animal Reiki and how
Yeah.
that got started. So go ahead and share that
Yeah.
with us.
Animal Reiki, gosh. My first experience with animal Reiki was actually when my one dog was at end of life, when she was getting near ready to pass. And a friend of mine who was a Reiki master asked me if she could send Reiki to my dog Sadie. And I didn't even really know much about what that even meant. And I just
Mhm.
was just like, absolutely, because I just wanted her to be comfortable. She wasn't comfortable at all. And she sent her Reiki. And I mean, she was like, my dog was just, couldn't settle. You could tell she was very uncomfortable. And then when she was receiving that Reiki, it was so beautiful. She just like laid next to me. And it was just such a beautiful time. It was just the two of us. And it was just really, really cool. So that was my first experience of like how like just what a beautiful gift you can give to the animals like in your life. And then it just snowballed from there. But that was my first real experience with animal Reiki was with my pet and a difficult
Okay.
time.
When you just said all of that, it made me think of like a thousand things I want to
I
ask
know,
you.
right?
Because honestly, my favorite part of Animal Reiki is the portion of the content where it talks about giving Animal Reiki to an animal when they're getting ready to
Yeah.
transition, right? And
Yeah.
I actually used Reiki on my Jasper, my dog. He's
Aw.
been like 2.5 years, like the love
Wow.
of my life, right? The love of my
Yeah.
life. Animal Reiki, and it's one of the most profound experiences I think I've ever had in my life. And I've been a healer for 15 years and have had lots of profound experiences, but
Yeah.
that moment spending with Jasper at the end of his life um, was so profound.
Yeah.
Not to get into this, but I had a past life regression in a group setting with Lorraine like a couple of weeks ago. And that moment came
Hmm.
back in my past life regression of me and Jasper.
Wow.
And yeah, just so profound. So I don't know. Do you want to say anything? I don't know if we're
That is
like,
so
do you
super
want to
cool.
say anything about what we talk about in Animal Reiki
I
about with
know. You just
animals transitioning?
jumped right into that. I
I
mean,
know.
well, I mean, first of all, I mean, what I love about animal Reiki too is that the animals, they honestly are just such a master of energy, like themselves. Like
Mhm.
the animals just, and there's no expectations from them. They are just coming into it so purely, and it is just such a beautiful exchange, no matter if it is end of life or just supporting them through anything that they're going through. That it's just such a beautiful, beautiful place where they're not analyzing it, they're just feeling it. That's probably one of my
Mhm.
favorite things about working with the
Well,
animals.
and this what we talk about in Animal Reiki is they're so sensitive to the energy that if you're gonna
Yeah.
come as a healer to like you have to be more aligned than you would with like a human because they are so sensitive to picking that up. right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think any of us that are pet owners know, when you are
Yeah.
around your animals, like they so pick up on your emotions. Like any cat owner knows as soon as you sit on the couch, that cat's jumping on your lap, to be with you. Or if you're having a bad day, they're not around you. They don't even want to be near you. Like they kind of know, they sense that energy. Or
Yeah.
dogs too, like they just want to like fix you almost. They're just that
Ooh.
unconditional love that they're just pouring out to you. So when you're having a bad day, those dogs are snuggling up to you.
Yeah. Oh, you just, I was actually going to ask you this when you
Yeah.
said like fix you. It- Can you talk briefly about what we talk about in Animal Reiki about how animals come here to sometimes take on the burden of their human. So in some cases, they
Yes.
don't want
Yeah.
to disappoint their humans and actually have their vibration raised. Can you kind of like put that in your
Yes.
words?
I actually have a story about that too.
Ooh.
So I have a client that has two cats, and every time I'm there, one of the cats just is such a snuggler and wants to be near you and just a purr machine. It just can't get enough of you. And then the other cat comes and checks you out, but then leaves. It doesn't really want to be by you. But then when I start doing Reiki, the cat that's the snuggler and purrs and wants to be with you doesn't want to be anywhere near me. It just totally goes into the other room. And then the cat that just usually checks me out, but it's a little more standoffish, will just sit in my lap and just receive the Reiki. And it's just so cool. And just what a beautiful reminder. And that other cat that doesn't want to be with us, I really believe is the cat that is just wants to give. It just wants to give. It's not here to receive from us. So when I'm trying to give it Reiki, it's just like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
That's my job. I should be Reikiing you.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. The story that I love to tell is, and you've probably heard me tell this story because you took the Reiki training with me for
Yeah.
animal Reiki. But so my son and I would always go, so weird, like that we would take a date always to the dentist office together. My son and I, we would
Oh
always
yeah.
go to the dentist
Yeah.
together. And our dentist at the time had a therapy dog that was always in, some people are really, really afraid of going to the dentist.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like it, which is another weird conversation.
I do too.
But I like
Clean
mouth
teeth.
pain for some reason. I don't know what that is about. Anyways, um, so she had a therapy dog, and the dog's name was Daisy, and it was like a doodle, some kind of doodle. And Zach and I, that's my son's name, we would be like in separate rooms, but the doors were not closed off. There was just like divider walls. So Daisy could run throughout the
Mm,
practice. And Zach and I, when we would drive there, we would always be like, who's Daisy gonna spend the most time with? Right? We would like fight over Daisy because we loved her. Like we would just want to, she's so soft and we want to pet her. And so the one time I was laying there getting my teeth cleaned and Zach was in the next whatever cubicle getting his cleaned and Daisy came up to me and I thought I'm gonna Reiki her and then she'll stay with me the whole time. And every time I
yeah.
would go to Reiki her, she would run off.
Yeah.
And when she would come back, I would go to Reiki and she would run off. And then I realized, yeah, after animal Reiki, because this was before, I realized she's there to give, not to receive. And so
Yeah.
she runs away. And that was actually that was when I was a Reiki practitioner, but not an animal Reiki practitioner. And so I didn't know the proper rules and guidelines, to ask for permission. So,
Yeah.
well, let's talk about that. I feel like we just dived right in,
I
right? We just
know. We're
dived
like
right
all
in.
over.
Like,
I
but
know.
let's talk
I
about
know.
that for a second because I always joke and say, when you become attuned to human Reiki or Reiki,
Yeah.
you don't just go around touching everyone. Although I know a
I
lot of
want to.
a lot of although that might not be a true statement for everyone. Maybe they do go
Yeah.
around touching everyone. But when we do animal Reiki, we think, oh, I can just go around and touch every animal. And it's just as not appropriate to do that with animals as it is
Yeah.
with humans, right? So talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Yeah. One of the questions I get asked often, because a lot of people that we're teaching animal Reiki to already have, not necessarily need to, but they already are Reiki certified. So they're like, I'm already certified in Reiki. How is that different from animal Reiki? And
Mhm.
it is different. It's like, I mean, Reiki is Reiki. Like that beautiful, pure love energy that you're sharing is not any different at all, but it's the technique and the approach. And then what you learn With the animals, like that part is like very different. Like my sessions with animals are completely different than my sessions with humans. And I had somebody recently ask me too what my favorite was, and I was like, I can't even say because
Right.
with people, it's just like I just love those sessions, but with animals, that just it's just such a beautiful transaction that's happening between you and the animals too. It's just beautiful. But I mean,
Yeah.
one of the biggest things too with like animals is that it's like more heart-centered approach. The animal is completely leading the session as opposed to a
Mhm.
practitioner leading the session, where, I'm
Right.
like in charge, they're in charge,
Yeah.
which is so
Yeah.
amazing.
Because with humans, there's verbal consent, and with
Mhm.
animals, it's nonverbal consent. And so there's like a whole process that you have to go through. Um, Okay, so you said a bunch of things popped up in, when you were saying that last, when you said, "What's my favorite?" It's funny that you say
Yeah.
that because when I used to teach animal Reiki, and I would like go around the room just so everyone can introduce themselves and then introduce their animal so we can like bring them symbolically or metaphorically or energetically into the space. And people would go around the room. I mean, people that are typically in animal Reiki, I heard this several times. I don't like people, but I like animals.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
they definitely have a favorite. You said you don't have a favorite. My favorite, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a human Reiki kind of healer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people in animal Reiki, I mean, people love their
Yeah.
animals.
Yeah.
And they would say, like, I don't, humans are okay, but I love my animals. And we used to do like, we used to say, like, how many animals do you have? And the average was always like 9 animals in the room. And I would always pull the average down because I only had one animal. Like, these are
Yeah.
people that just like, animals are their people, you
I
know?
know. I know. I
So that
love
might
that.
be you
I love,
listening right now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I love that. And I love those
Yeah.
people.
I,
Oh, but
I
there's, I think
know.
with the animal Reiki training though, too, I think it's important to know that that is so different than the human Reiki. Because there are
Yes.
like you have to think about that you're not thinking about with people, like even safety, because it's like you're working with an animal. Like I like
Yes.
Reiki horses, so I have to make sure I have like the proper footwear on and just things like that. And it's not things you think about in a human
Yes.
session. I'm not worried about what shoes I'm wearing, when
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
Reikiing a
because you're probably
person.
not wearing any shoes in a
Or
human
any
session.
shoes,
Yeah,
right.
um,
Right.
but that's what actually that's a thought that I had when you said that is like, Reiki's the same. And I always joke to say like Reiki did not come down from the heavens and say, these are the rules for Reiki.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, to that point, Reiki is Reiki. However, there is a framework, right? There is a
Yeah.
process, there are guidelines. And I wonder, is animal Reiki kind of like animal communication? Or people say I'm an animal communicator. And the reason why I throw that out to you, you and I have never had this conversation before. Is it the same? And because there's a specific symbol and a
Mhm.
specific stone that you're given in animal Reiki and told how to use. And they really are, in my opinion, like that piece of the animal communicator. It's like a bridge to connect to the animals that you're working with.
Yeah. Oh no, I think that's really, really true. And that's, I think, also why it's such a different experience when you're working with the animals because the communication, they can't verbally tell you,
Right?
but then you feel it and you sense it and your intuition, um,
Yeah.
what's going on in that situation.
Yeah. Okay, so some people might be listening right now and saying, "Well, I can't hear my animals or
Mm.
whatever." What I love the most is there's an activity done in the training in which they actually get to pick one of their animals and test their chakras, right? And there's permission that needs to be received. And all the times I've did it with all the students that were in the room, they're always shocked that they heard their animal. They
Yeah.
heard their animal. I would say, gosh, I can't even think of one person who did not hear their animal when it was that
Yeah.
time to come and do that activity, even if they've never done that before, even if they thought they couldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really true. It's all just about, calming your mind, centering yourself and connect and allowing that connection to happen. And I think
Yeah.
often we don't allow that time or that, just to sit there. and
Yeah.
connect, which is really beautiful. Yeah, I remember doing that in our, when I was a student in the animal Reiki. And I remember asking like my daughter's cat if I could connect, and I got kind of a no, which I thought was really interesting because you don't often get no's. But she's a little
More
sassy,
knows,
you
yeah,
know?
more knows with animals than you
Yeah,
would with and we kind of explain why that happens. Oh, it's so weird. I have this hummingbird,
it wants
this
Reiki.
hummingbird thing outside my wi window, and it is like going in a vortex right now. It's so weird. I wish I could show my
Oh,
cat. Like it's never. I'm sure it's windy outside, but anyways, it's just like
yeah,
caught
that's
my eye. I'm
so
like,
cool.
why is that swinging so quickly in a vortex?
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
sorry, I digress.
No, no.
I think that is kind of an objection. I think that not only people have with when they want to learn human Reiki or animal Reiki is like, can I do this? Like, am
Yeah,
I able, can anyone do this? I remember I was very naive to think when I first stumbled upon Reiki that I did. It was 15 years ago. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anyone who did it. And when I talked to the Reiki master who was, sharing Reiki with me, she was like, no, anyone could do it. And I didn't know that. And this is
yeah,
the same with animal Reiki. It's the same with human Reiki.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it really is.
Yeah.
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 It's I know. I'm just thinking about that too when you're I'm thinking about the hummingbird that you just mentioned outside too. And I don't know, I'm even thinking like, we're talking about animals and our pets, but it's really like the animal kingdom. I love raking like the wildlife in my yard or when I'm on walks too, like what I'm offering. And I've even noticed since I've started, raking like animal Reiki, and it's kind of funny they keep calling me Snow White in this house, like my neighbors and
I
that call
was
me Snow
just gonna
White.
say that. I was just gonna call you Snow White.
No. But it's like I have like foxes that play in the front yard and deer that sleep in the backyard. I mean, there is like, and I can't even tell you how many birds nest and animals that are like a cat that sleeps on our backyard. It's just like so many. And I think it's just but I'm also raking all of them too. And that energy that you're putting out there. And I know that they can feel it and sense it. So my whole, like, I think that's why I love animal Reiki so much too, because even though it was something that I've always, you have Reiki as a Reiki practitioner and you can Reiki
Mhm.
animals, I think
Yeah.
learning all those techniques and learning, just that connection has really just made it to like a different level. And that connection that I now experience with the animals is completely different than
Mhm.
when I did with, not knowing how to approach.
Yeah. And I would say the first thing that was coming to my mind is like, if there's somebody listening to this and they think that's weird that we're having this conversation, you might have stumbled upon the wrong YouTube clip, right? Because people that are into like animal Reiki are going to be people that kind of just understand
Yeah.
this connection that we have with animals. I mean,
Yeah.
me and my sisters always say like we all have dogs and we're just like we just don't deserve them. We just don't
No.
deserve these precious
Yeah.
unconditional loving animals that are gifted to us.
Yeah.
And I think that that is to me one of the most interesting, fascinating things about animal Reiki is that you learn that they are the energy stabilizers of this planet. And so sometimes they
Yeah.
are not necessarily wanting to be Reiki'd, right? Which is
Yeah.
why you have to pay attention to that nonverbal consent from them.
Yeah.
But let me just ask you this question because we kind of like danced around it a little bit. If you are a Reiki practitioner and
Hmm.
you're not animal Reiki certified, what would you say to somebody who either isn't going to do the animal Reiki certification or before they sign up? What would you say to them? Because it is okay to still Reiki your animals. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I Reiki Jasper for 10 years
Yeah.
before I even knew what animal Reiki was, which is makes me laugh a little bit. And it was fine. But what would you say to that person just before they did do animal Reiki?
The first thing I do say is that it is like the same beautiful Reiki energy. I don't want people to think it's
Mhm.
something different. That part of it's the same, but I would want them to make sure that they're asking permission because that's really the first thing that they need to do is to make sure that the animal wants to receive, just like the dog that you talked about at the dentist or the client who has a cat who doesn't want it. Like I don't want you following your animal around the house,
Yeah.
like trying to like send Reiki to it because it doesn't want it. So follow the animal's cues. If the animal is not interested in receiving it, then you need to respect that. I
Yeah.
think that's probably the
I
bottom line.
Yeah, because the funny we like joke like if your animal is running away from you,
Yeah.
that is the sign. They're like, "Well, how do I know?" And I'm like, "Well, if it keeps running away from you, then stop doing that."
Yeah.
The same is true with like babies. That's what I've always said about, is that
Yeah.
if you're holding a baby and they can't verbally consent to Reiki and they start getting fidgety or crying or all those things, then you also don't want to flow Reiki to humans who cannot verbally consent. So yeah.
Yeah.
And animal Reiki is, we don't need to get into it, but it's a heart-centered approach as opposed to a hands-on approach. And here's what I want to say about that. The animals are always teaching us. They're
Mm,
always teaching us. And
mhm.
so for 10 years plus, I always had a hands-on approach to Reiki. And then after I went through animal Reiki and realized it was a heart-centered approach, and you're
Yeah.
given like a specific meditation where you can feel that and sense that. And then once you experience and feel that, you know exactly what it is. And I remember after doing the animal Reiki certification, me using that heart-centered approach that was specific for animals with humans again because I'm more of a human Reiki person than an animal Reiki person.
Yeah.
I would use the heart-centered approach even with humans, and it really intensified my experience with even human Reiki.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I can see that. And you're right about animals being teachers. I mean, honestly, they teach us about love and patience and
Mhm.
being present. And it's just, um, yeah, they're just like teaching us so much, just unconditionally. And I think that's that pure energy you feel when you're raking an animal is just so beautiful. I think that's one of the things that um that I love most about it is really connecting with them. One of the my favorite Reiki experiences was actually with a horse that was new to a stable, and I didn't realize this, but horses have pecking orders. Like there's an alpha horse,
Mhm.
just like with dogs. So the alpha horse in the stable was trying to put the new horse in its place. So it was really stressed. And so they asked me to come in and Reiki the horse, and I mean, I would just stand there and just Reiki. Like it kept coming up to me and just wanted to be with me and just let me Reiki it. And it's just that energy, like the horse's biofield is just so massive to begin with.
Mm.
And to stand in that and for it to accept the energy that I was flowing without, just I mean, that just pure love and just pure acceptance. And it was just a really cool experience to just watch that horse like become calm, like in front of me. This horse that
Yeah.
had so much anxiety and that was able to just chill.
You know what I love about that story is that I the most profound stories that I hear with animal Reiki are usually not associated with domesticated animals. And by that, I'm just simply meaning cats and dogs. I've heard some of the most magical stories about Reiki with horses or farm
Yes.
animals. And um, mm, yeah, so it doesn't surprise me that one of your most profound experience with the animal Reiki
Yeah.
is with the horse. In fact, a lot of times I do hear it with horses. Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you're a horse lover or farm man, all of those things, you can be offering Reiki to all of those animals.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
that's why I love we offer the animal Reiki certification online too, because I know it's so hard, especially if you are taking care of if you have horses or other animals, it's hard to get away for a day of training. So then we
Yeah,
switched to offering it online too. We offer in person and online, which I think
yeah,
is awesome. So that you can
yeah,
still attend because we know you need to, horses have to be taken care of 3 times a day. You don't have a choice. You have to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we accommodate for that, and yeah, I love. Okay, so you mentioned. Um, why don't you share with people if they are interested in becoming certified or want to just have somebody come out and Reiki their animals, or any questions? How can they reach out and sign up for that
Yeah.
certification?
So, I mean, if you go to the Shine's website, which is it shine.com or is it, oh, and I'm doing it wrong. It's not.
It's
Shine
shineohio.com.
Ohio. I was going to say
Yeah.
Akron, shineohio.com.
Hmm.
Um, and then if you go there, you can sign up for like if you want. a session with your animal, you can sign up there for a one-on-one session. Or if you're interested in learning Reiki yourself so that you can work with your animals or the wildlife animals or any animal,
Yeah.
um, you can do that. We do a couple different ways. So if you already have Reiki, if you're already Reiki certified, you could take the animal Reiki class without being, with your certification, or you could take it if you're not certified. We do like a combination in that same class, which is like a level one Reiki along with the animal Reiki, so that you are totally prepared to be able to offer this Reiki to your animals. And our
Yeah.
classes are either all day in person or we do the online ones,
Yeah.
Zoom.
So just to give like some context around that, we used to have animal Reiki completely separate. And basically what that means is like you had to be Reiki 1 certified, right? So you had to first take Reiki 1 before you could take animal Reiki. And then we decided to have a combination because what we found was there was a lot of people who just wanted the animal Reiki. And the difference between the two is that you still get the Reiki 1's attunement, which connects you to the Reiki energy. For those of you who are listening, if you're new to all of this, um, first of all, I would recommend listening to our Reiki podcast if you are
Yeah.
new to this. But um, you still receive the level 1 attunement and a brief introduction and overview of level 1. But honestly, if you want to practice on humans, animal Reiki is not enough information for you to practice on humans. So we do recommend Reiki level 1 if you're going to practice on humans, but you can take our animal Reiki certification if you do not have Reiki 1. Hopefully that's not
Yeah.
confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I
Yeah.
think it's like a 6 hour class. So it's almost a full day and you can do it online or
Yeah.
in person. We're located in Kent, Ohio. However, we service the entire United States, and that's why we offer a lot of our things online. So no
Yeah.
matter where you're at in the world, you
Yeah.
can take Reiki, animal Reiki certification with us live on Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I find a lot of people that are taking like the animal Reiki class with like the introduction to Reiki are people that really just want to Reiki their
Yeah.
pets, or they might be like dog groomers, or they're working at a vet or boarding animals like that. That is because they specifically have a job where they're working with animals. So they're
Yes.
not looking to, like you're saying, like they're not looking to um Reiki humans as
Hmm.
much as they are looking to Reiki their fur friends.
Yeah. And you mentioned horses earlier. I think when we first started sharing animal Reiki, I don't remember, like maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. I don't really remember. Um, Lots and lots of horse lovers came out.
Mm.
Lots and lots of horse lovers were like, I
Yeah.
don't care. I just want animal Reiki. I just want to Reiki my horses. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, to your point, yeah, dog trainers, vets, groomers, all of those things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a really good fit. It's just a really good fit.
Yeah.
And I love hearing the follow-up stories of people who, are taking animal Reiki and then they share like what beautiful experiences they have with like, recently there was a dog groomer in one of our Reiki training classes and she reached out after to say she was doing Reiki as she was doing grooming on one of her dogs that was always stressed,
Yeah.
during the grooming process. And she was just saying how amazing it was and how helpful it was.
You know
Um,
what? I'm so glad
love
you brought
that.
that up because I take my dog to the dog groomer every single month, and shout out to my dog groomer if you're watching this. I freaking love her and adore her. She is the
Oh,
absolute best. But I always think in my head because I'll walk in and I see all these dogs on tables. Like in this, my dog just shakes before I take him there, even though he loves her. He shakes before, and I see all these dogs on tables, and you can tell they're all stressed out and they're all freaking out. And honestly, I would rather take my dog to a groomer that had animal Reiki. I
yeah.
mean, we love our animals. Like, wouldn't you rather take your dog to be groomed by somebody who had animal Reiki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah. Like
Absolutely.
I feel like that sets you apart. Like,
Yeah.
and you don't even have to explain it as, animal Reiki to the mass audience. You can just explain it as, you've taken training to where you can
Yeah.
deal with stressful animals. I mean,
Yeah.
it hugely sets you apart in the marketplace if you are an animal groomer. So yeah, I love that you shared
Oh
that
no, for
story and that she
sure.
followed back up with you and said it was
Yeah.
like helpful and yeah.
Yeah. And, I don't know if we really touched on like why you would want to do animal Reiki, but that
We
was,
just like jumped right in
we
with the
did.
when your dog's gonna transition. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that is like, it's like, one of the most beautiful times to offer it is,
Yes.
that end of life is just, it's just a beautiful connection. But yeah, if your dog is stressed or your animal stressed, like cats, I mean, I know they don't always love going to the vet. So that would be something you could offer your
Yeah.
cat with at vet appointments, like your own animals. Um, so if there's stress or anxiety, but also sometimes it's like you might be introducing like a new pet to the house, and that can be a very stressful situation. So that would be a good time for both the new family member as well as the family members that have been there. Like
Yeah.
that's a great one. Or even maybe after a surgery or an illness or anything like that would also be another time I would highly recommend incorporating Reiki, at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, any time is good. There's no
Yeah.
bad time. There's no wrong time.
Nope. There
Every time's a
certainly
good
isn't. I
time.
mean, I Reiki myself still every day for the past 15
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Never miss a day. So yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, Shauna,
oh.
this has been great. Before I close, I just want to ask, is there anything else you want to share? Anything else that we haven't talked about that you want people to know out there who might be interested in
Gosh.
animal Reiki?
I'm not sure. Like the only thing I could think about is that I know that we're talking about a lot of new things and somebody might be stumbling upon this because they really, we just love our animals and they're like wondering if this is something that would fit for them. And if they do think this might be a fit or if they have any questions to just reach out to us and then we could
Yeah.
definitely have a conversation and answer any questions you might have about, how this could work and how, any questions you might have, we can answer.
Yeah. I love that. Like on our website, shineohio.com, we have free discovery calls, free consultation
Mm.
calls. And honestly, I hear all the time, like people are like, well, I wanted to ask this question, but I didn't want to bother you. Or, we love it. Like schedule
Yes, bother
15
us.
minutes with us. Like just like schedule 15 minutes with us and like, let's talk and
Yeah.
have a conversation, regardless of what it is. That's what we love.
Yeah.
We're here to help. Here to support. We're here to educate. We're here to like any questions that you might have. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I love those. I love when people do call and they have those questions and then we're, because they're all so different. I just so thoughtful and I just love to answer all of them. So,
Yeah.
so I hope they do.
Well, it was so nice to have you here, Shauna,
Oh,
and thank you for being here. And
thank you.
I'm sure again, if you didn't listen to the Reiki podcast, I'd say go back to the channel and listen to that one too. And if you have any questions, we're going to drop the links below and we will see you soon.
All right.
Bye until next time.
Bye.
Bye.